Hi guys, Cinnabite here. My apologies for my face, but I was recently on a film shoot and they shaved off my beard and gave me a really shit haircut. So I've been in hiding ever since, waiting for it to grow back. I've literally spent the last few weeks looking like a turtle without a shell, and not the cool ninja kind either. So The Shallows is a 2016 shark thriller by director Harme Koyetsara. I think I got that right. You might remember him from the god-awful Paris Hilton remake of The House of Wax back in 2005. And it stars the delightful Blake Lively in not very much, of course, who I always think looks a lot like A.G. Langer from back in My So-Called Life in the early 1990s. What do you guys think? The film follows the story of Nancy, a lone surfer who becomes marooned on a rock after a shark attack, and her subsequent battle for survival in a hidden beach cove. It's a lot like Tremors or The Lava Game, but in the sea and with only one person. The film is competently shot and has some really nice cinematography and a very well thought out colour palette. The cast do a great job in their roles, and the characters are, for the most part, very believable as real people. They do use that really awful text message overlay that you get in a lot of films these days, where if somebody sends an email or a text or a WhatsApp, it pops up on the screen. But in all fairness, they do a great job of that. They match the colours to the environment, and there's a very, very nice, appealing, visually attractive and constantly changing background to these messages. The film sees Blake Lively's character Nancy arrive at a secret beach that her mother had told her about when she was young, so that she could, I guess, go and find herself and do a bit of surfing as well. She does meet a couple of other surfers while she's there, who provide a bit of character relief and really set up plot devices that are used later on in the film. After the other characters leave, Nancy stays on for one last wave, where she ultimately succumbs to the great white shark after stumbling into its feeding ground. Now that's not as corny as it sounds, and it works really well for the first half of the film. The film follows a very contained plot. There's a little bit of backstory, but not a great deal, so for the most part we're really in it just for the moment. And while there are a number of technical issues with the film, the characters are believable and the scenes are very well constructed. There's this awesome scene where Nancy is surfing across this big wave and there's a huge shadow of a shark sort of stalking just behind the waves that really builds the tension. Once Nancy's attacked, we then spend the rest of the film following her as she struggles to survive on the rock, interacting with any locals and trying to survive before the tide gets too high and washes her back into the sea with the shark. It's actually really difficult to make a film about one person in one fixed location, and for the first half of the film, Harme does a really fantastic job. However, there aren't that many people in the film, and if you ignore the phone conversations, there's probably about 4 or 5 at best, and at least 2 of those are used just to set up scenes. Because of this, the filmmakers have a very challenging job at trying to tell us what's happening without any interaction between characters. Something they achieved really well through backstory and exposition, at least in the first half of the film. But there's only so much exposition that you can cram into a film about one person, and this is where the script writing really starts to fall down, and to quite a laughable degree. Throughout the second half of the film, the filmmakers treat the audience as some kind of potato that needs everything explaining to them. Well, it's a book, you read it. What do you mean you haven't got any eyes? And with no other characters to interact with to explain to us what's going on, it leads to a ridiculous amount of exposition. I'm not kidding. If you were blind, you wouldn't even need to turn the audio description off, as the main character narrates every thought she has, every action she's intending to take throughout the film. And this quickly becomes disassociative and laughable. There are several scenes in the film where I actually laughed out loud because what she was saying was just ridiculous and so unnatural. There's a whale over there. A camera. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that obviously Nancy survives the ordeal, although in somewhat better condition than I'm led to believe she does in the book. The final battle with the shark, while technically inaccurate, is very well done, very creatively done, although there are some elements such as the sea catching fire that could have been made clearer through some more explanatory filming. As far as the effects go, the CGI is fantastic, everything's really well done. There's only a couple of instances where you see Blake Lively's character and you look at her and you just think, that's not Blake Lively, it looks nothing like her, which you assume is just a stunt double. And a couple of small instances of CGI where it's kind of obvious it's CGI. But apart from that, the CGI is really, really good in this film. And this brings me to the special mentions. There are 2 special mentions. Firstly, the CGI, which was absolutely amazing. The effects team did a fantastic job. The shark, it moved naturally. It looked like it had a weight to it. It didn't sort of dart all over the place and jump out of the water, you know, sort of 60 foot in the air. The other special mention is the seagull. During her time on the rock, Nancy befriends an injured seagull who kind of goes through the whole ordeal with her. And this seagull is absolutely amazing. She unoriginally calls him Steven Seagull, which I guess would be a novelty if nobody's ever heard that before. But this seagull is absolutely amazing. It's actually a real seagull they used for the film, called Sully, from a sanctuary in Australia where they did filming. But this seagull, it reacts to things, it interacts with things, it seems to take cues. If there's any kind of animal awards, this seagull needs an Oscar. Seriously, it is absolutely. The whole film is worth watching just for the seagull, and it gets to the point where it arguably upstages Blake Lively. So now we come to the rating. Should you go and see The Shallows? Yes, I think you should. Obviously, it's no Jaws, although it does seem to give a nod toward Jaws in the final act. But it's well shot. It's visually attractive, and not just because of Blake Lively, of course. The characters are well done and well acted. The script writing lets it down a little bit, and it uses that horrible Hollyoaks-style text message overlays, which I really don't like. So it loses a couple of points there. So I'll give The Shallows a 7 out of 10. So guys, have you seen The Shallows yet? If you have, obviously leave me a comment below, tell me what you thought. And of course, you know the drill by now. If you like this video, hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time.